You're listening to Real Love, Real Stories TV and podcast. I am so excited you're here. My name is Kanu and I'm the host, and I am bringing to you another love story. Enjoy. Welcome, Sherry and Barry. I'm so excited you're here to share your love story. So to start off with, let's have you guys introduce yourselves to the audience.
You want to go first?
Go ahead.
No, you can go first.
My name is Barry Upshaw. Been in Arizona for this past January, made 33 years.
Nice.
Johnson.
And I'm Sherry. I'm a native here. Well, I won't say how long, but I'm a native of Arizona. And thank you for inviting us to do this. It's something different we've never done. I've never done. I don't think he has. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm so excited you both are here to share your love stories. So diving right into it, let's talk about your love journey. When did it begin? Go as far back as you want to go. So tell us how it started.
I moved here January 15th, 1987. Went to church January 16th, 1987, and that has been my habit whenever I go to places I want to visit churches, and I visit the church Salt of the Earth, which is in South Phoenix, and saw Sherry, met Sherry, and then of course some of the other people, but that's where we had initially met, was at church.
Oh, nice.
But the fun part of that he's not telling, a good friend of mine had seen him sitting out in the congregation. She goes, oh, there's a new guy out there. Go out there and share your Sunday school book with him. We don't have enough books. She made me sit by him and share my Sunday school book.
That was not the first Sunday, though.
That wasn't the first Sunday?
I thought it was the first Sunday. That's the way I'm looking at it. Anyway, I shared my Sunday school book with him.
Oh, nice. So she shows up with her Sunday school book. Barry, what did you think about that?
She didn't know what the lesson was.
Hey.
And she still shows up with her Sunday school lesson.
Hey, don't be telling my secrets. I confess, I kind of read it on the way because a lot of it, it's not that it's I know it all, but I glance at it and I've seen it. But Barry's also a Sunday school teacher, and he brings a lot out in the lesson that I don't already know. So,
gotcha.
Let me fix it up.
So, okay, you shared the Sunday school book together. So, at what point did you decide?
Well, I was going to school in Paradise Valley. And so I didn't have a car when I was living on campus, and then I moved from campus to the church, a home that was owned by the church, which was literally across the street. So Sherry started giving me a ride to school on some days.
Nice. Go, Sherry.
I knew what to do.
I love it.
No. And you know what? Just to back up a little bit too. This is a second marriage for me. Okay. And I had four?
4 children.
I had 4 children at the time.
Okay.
Yeah. So it wasn't, let's see. We of course started out friends, like I said, shared the book, and then I'd give him a ride to school and things like that. And then we started kind of hanging out and talking on the phone till all hours of the night. And Barry's very deep. He's a deep thinker, and he asks a lot of questions, and that got on my nerves because I had never been.
And it still does.
Not as much as it used to, because I know now, what questions are for. So, but right. Yeah, he asked a lot of questions. But when did this was something that was funny. So we were kind of, hanging out as friends and all that. And then he met this lady at church, and she had a couple of kids, and he decided when did you decide that you were going to ask her to marry you?
I don't remember.
Anyway, he was going to ask her to marry him. And I knew this young lady because I grew up at this church. And so I gave my friendly advice. It wasn't because I wanted him. I said, Barry, I know this young lady, you may not want to, pursue this. I said, at least don't announce it at church. Well, 2 weeks later, he announces it that they're getting engaged. I'm like, okay. So we're still talking as friends. 2 weeks after that, there's no engagement. The engagement is off. And I'm like, I hate to tell you I told you so, but I told you not to announce it. So then we really started hanging out and getting closer. And then it kind of budded into a romance.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
So
an Anita Baker mixtape.
oh, I love it. I love it. So, but when you were giving him right to school and all that, it was just pure friendship. Nothing was going on there.
Right. Initially.
I'm sensing.
It wasn't.
Initially, it wasn't. It was a ride to school, and then we started hanging out.
Oh, okay.
And because I was right at the tail end of my degree.
Oh,
and
okay.
then what happened was she basically became my typist. She would type up all my papers, and I hated typing. I mean, I could type, but I couldn't type as fast as she typed.
I see.
So she was then and is now a perfectionist when it comes to writing stuff, typing. This was before you could do all your editing on the computer.
Oh, gotcha.
So when I would print a page out, she would see one punctuation mark wrong, and she'd have to retype the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
Literally. So she would retype the whole thing. And I was like, no, let's just put a black marker on there. And she was like, nope. No. So we spent a lot of time together because of the type, the papers. I mean, when you're a senior in college, you got to type all footnotes and all that stuff.
Right.
So when actually that I think probably brought us closer together than anything.
Oh, okay. Okay.
A lot of time together.
So Sherry, when he was dating this lady at church, I mean, were you okay with it, or were you kind of hoping?
I was okay because I really didn't think it would last. And I was trying to really spare his feelings because I knew her. And I'm like, okay, do you?
Right.
So after that it was over, like I said, and we still talked, not as much as we had, of course, because he was dating somebody. Right. And I didn't want to appear needy, which I wasn't. But you know what? I did. I think even from the day I saw him, I was attracted to him. He had really broad shoulders, still does, and he looked so strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was excited about that, and it didn't even bother me that I had 4 children. I was like, okay, I'm me. But he didn't tell you he really liked this one dress that I had on. That's what kind of caught him too.
What kind of dress was that?
Well, my favorite color is that army green.
Uh-huh.
And so we were at church, and I came to church one Sunday, and I saw it. The picture still etched in my mind. She had on this green dress. She had a red belt around the green, a red hat with red pumps and no stockings.
Oh, wow.
And green is my favorite color.
And it was army green.
Yes, it was army green. And I was like, I did one of those, wow, what?
I love this.
So that's when I really noticed her. I mean, I still think about that today. I mean, it was, and of course the shape in the dress didn't hurt at all.
Look out.
Oh. Okay, now you have to describe it. Now we have to.
Well, what was this show? I can't remember the show, but they talk about a Coke bottle shape.
Okay.
A real Coke bottle shape. That's what I saw, was a real Coke bottle shape. Exactly. Yeah. Healthy back door.
Baby.
So, hey, I mean, I tell people all the time, I mean, as a man, I am a visual creature.
Yeah.
And so when one of the things when we first got married, Sherry used to get upset when I look at other women. I said, but why would you get upset with me for looking at other women? I'm a man.
And then I joined him. So we both look at other women and make.
I told her, I said, just because, I mean, you can look doesn't mean you have to partake.
Right.
Oh, I see.
We have the conversation openly about, I mean, I think God is a wonderful God, and when he made women, he didn't do any better. So that's my take.
So now, Sherry, you have joined into looking at admiring, you know.
We both look. I mean, I look at guys, but it's not that big a deal, but it's interesting. And most of what we do, this is what we do nowadays.
Yeah.
Is that real or is that fake? Do you think that's real or is that fake? But I mean, I admire the fact that he admires a beautiful woman.
Okay.
And I have no reservation, no, you know, it's not like he's gonna run, hey, can I get them digits? No, that's not what he does. He appreciates beauty.
And I'm not a wolf, like my tongue is hanging out and I'm salivating. And I think that to me is very disrespectful. I mean, I didn't even look at my wife when I first saw her like that. It was like, and I didn't run around and broadcast it to everybody, man, you got to come see this.
Right.
I think there's a level of respect that has to be exemplified. Because I mean, think about, I mean, I have granddaughters. I don't want guys salivating all over them, slobbering, and so disrespectful. And I have the conversation with young men all the time. There's a line there that is, if they say it's disrespectful, then hear what they're saying. Right. You know, so you don't want to be that wolf that's just, you know, your fangs are showing and you're slobbering all over yourself, and all of a sudden it become like that stranger danger thing.
Like in the movie Boomerang. Remember that movie?
Yeah. Right. So, you know, I don't know. I mean, kudos to you, Sherry. For me, though.
Would it be hard?
It'll be so hard for me to know that my guy is, but you know what's so funny is maybe I know deep down, maybe he's looking, but maybe I just don't want to know about it. I don't know. So it's like
well, and keep in mind too, we've been married 30 years. So yeah, I went through the part where I didn't like him looking at other women because I myself was insecure in me coming out of a strange relationship, whatever. But you know, it took years for me to build that. So no, that didn't just happen.
Yeah, and I love that you're doing it together now. Because
the conversation that I have with Sherry is probably 5 or 6 years ago now. And it was like, you know, we'd been married 24, 25 years at the time. And I said, you know, there should be nothing we shouldn't be able to have a conversation about. I don't care if it's taboo. I don't care if nobody else is doing it. I don't care if everybody is doing it. There come a time, and I think, again, that has a lot to do with the person. If there's conversations that we've had and she hasn't agreed with them, and then be like, okay, but this is the way I'm thinking, so I should be able to share that with you. Now, I'm not going to attempt to impose what I think on you, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be able to have the conversation.
Yeah,
I think sometimes in our culture, even it's the husbands and wives. That's a big problem. Communication, sex, and money. And I think, you know, when we tear down those strongholds, then our love becomes even richer, even deeper. Some of the things that we've been through, they have made our marriage stronger. So yeah, there's nothing that's off limits. This is my best friend. I don't keep secrets from my best friend. Now,
I love that.
I will say there are some things that I won't tell him because it's not gonna, you know, it's not gonna enhance. So, but to me, it's not a secret. You know what I'm saying? But he knows my deepest, darkest secrets.
Okay. I love that. I mean, like you said, communication. I think it's actually one of the number one reasons why relationships end.
Well, we almost got divorced over a pair of shoes.
What?
Because I love shopping, and early on in our marriage, I mean, we really couldn't afford it, but I would buy things and hide them in my trunk. And I think almost every married woman has done this.
Been there, done that, yep.
And we were out, I think I went to pick him up at work, and he looked down at my feet and he goes, "Are those new shoes?" And I said, "No." I've had them for 3 weeks. So, and it just started a whoop. So I learned, I don't know, I was afraid. I just was afraid because.
And that's when a lot of the questions that I started asking, not because I was trying to be authoritarian, but it was like, because my thinking was, look, I married you with 4 children. When I first started teaching, I taught school, I was making more money than she was making off the bat. But it was because of what she had helped me with to get the degree. So she had this idea of, I don't know how long she had it, that I thought that I was better than her because I had a degree and she didn't.
Oh.
So she really thought that I thought I was better than her.
That's true.
So, and I was really dumbfounded. I was like, where did you get that from? Because she's me exemplifying any of those traits. But I think because of what she had thought, oh, he's got a degree, so he's better. I think that was all on her.
It was.
And when I graduated, they actually gave her what they called, the school did. I had my bachelor's degree, and they gave her a PhD.
What's the T?
Putting hubby through.
Yep.
And I thought that was
I wrote those papers.
And she did. So I thought that was a fantastic touch. And I reminded her of that. I said, Sherry, if it were not for you, I would not have gotten that degree. So why would I think that I'm better than you because I have one?
Right.
I mean, it's just as much as yours it is was mine.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the PhD, I think, was the cherry on top of the degree.
At the college that he went to Southwestern?
It was Southwestern Bible College at the time. It's Arizona Christian University now.
Okay. So they really do give it out to...
They did then. I don't know if they're still doing it, but I graduated.
That's a very nice thing to do for sure. Yeah.
They recognize the struggle. Most, like I said, they have a lot of adult learners who had families, and they were working. Barry was working and all that. So they had to have that kind of help, and the spouse had to be patient if it was going to be something that was successful. And of course, I wanted them to be successful. So yeah, that was a lot of it. All of it was on me. I just felt, because I don't have a degree, but I'm smart, and a lot of the things that I learned in grade school and high school, I carried with me, and they're not even teaching those things now, and they should, and they weren't really teaching them back then. And when you have somebody who is strong, like I was strong in spelling and ink, I love that stuff. I ate that stuff up, and he would bring me his paper, and I'm like, no. You are not turning this in. So it kind of started like that. And then sometimes I think he would kind of do it on purpose so I would help.
No, he wouldn't. He just wanted to get it done.
Right. And he would rush. And it's like, oh my gosh.
Oh, so Barry, sounds like you were a teacher. What did you teach?
I taught English and reading.
Oh, okay. And this is at what level?
At high school. When I first started, I taught middle school, 7th and 8th, and then I taught 1 year of self-contained 5th grade.
Oh, okay.
Which means I taught all subjects.
Yeah, I salute teachers.
Right? It's like a battlefield nowadays, and back then.
It absolutely is a battlefield.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So, okay. So going back to, you were dating, and then, so talk to me about the proposal. How long?
Well,
this is hilarious, and you better tell the truth.
Okay, then you tell.
Nope.
No.
I want to hear what you're gonna say. Look, I want to hear how you remember it.
Well, what happened? I finished college? No, I hadn't finished yet. So I was working. I was going to school, and I was working at a place like a halfway house.
Okay.
And I worked from 11 o'clock to 8 in the morning, and I was going to school. And so, we had start dating, and Sherry had gotten pregnant.
Okay.
So I thought, you know what? I don't want, because I already had a child from high school, and I didn't want another child without me being around to raise the child.
Right.
So I got down on one knee, asked I didn't. Yes, I did. You don't remember that part. We were at the house. We were at the house across the street from the church, and she had come over and asked her to marry me because I didn't want another one of my kids out there without me raising them.
Oh, I love that.
Wow, I cannot believe I forgot. But then we went shopping for the ring. You didn't have the ring then.
No.
Okay, I remember now. I remember.
Okay.
And I had gotten a dog, a Rottweiler, and she had 13 puppies, and 2 of them died, and I sold 10 of them, and that's what I bought the ring.
And that's how I got my engagement ring.
Oh.
But check out how he gave it to me. This was the part that I remember because we bought it. It had to be sized, and it came in, and he picked it up. So he's working this overnight shift, plus he's going to school, right? So he told me to stop by the house. I stopped by the house, and he said, "Look on the dresser." And that's how he gave me my ring. And then he went, because he went back to sleep. Oh. So I picked my ring up, put it on my finger, and I left. So that's how we got engaged.
Yeah. So then, but you said the wedding happened 3 months after that.
Mm-hmm. And we basically, all 4 of the kids were in the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
All 4 of the kids were in the wedding, and the nephew. And we had it. I don't think we spent more than $1,500.
We didn't spend close to that much.
It might have been.
Wow.
I don't even think it was $1,000. My girlfriend made my wedding dress, which she charged. It was like $75, and most of that went to the material and the pattern and all that stuff. Friends made, the women of the church made the food for the reception afterwards. We had somebody make the cakes, and really the most expensive thing was renting the tuxes and the flowers. And we didn't have a whole lot of flowers, but it was nice. It was a small wedding. I had, it was my second marriage.
Right.
So of course I didn't wear white. It was off-white, but it was family. It was family.
Well, I mean, one of the reasons why marriages end up ending, one is money. And what I heard from research says it's money actually cost by the expense of a wedding.
Of the wedding. Yeah, we didn't have to worry about that.
And you do all these things, and you're doing it for people who are coming to your wedding.
Right. Exactly.
And nobody from my family came from Wisconsin.
Oh.
Yeah.
And my father-in-law, he gave her away. And so I was the only one here from my side of the family. I told him that I don't even remember getting a congratulations, but my family,
even think you got a car.
I never got a car from anybody, but I was not close to anybody in my family growing up. So it wasn't, I'd expected them to come. Had they come, I probably would have been shocked.
And there were 10 of you guys?
There's 9 of us.
So,
yeah. Oh, okay.
But they didn't talk. In fact, when we got married, my family would come over because we were big on family. We'd go to my grandmother's house every Sunday for dinner, and sometimes they'd come here. And a few times everybody would be in the living room, and all of a sudden I'd look up and he was gone. And I'm like, now where did he go? I'd go in the bedroom. He goes, well, I was sleepy, so I went to bed. And I'm like, well, that was rude. my family, they didn't like him at first, but I had to understand that's how he grew up. We grew up saying good morning, good night, I love you. We kissed, we hugged.
Right.
Didn't get any of that.
No, we didn't have that.
That close.
I mean, there was 5 boys and 4 girls. And we were just not close. So when I first married her, she was like, kissing before I leave? What? Really, that we didn't have any of that that I can remember.
Right.
So that was foreign to me. Mm-hmm. I mean, I remember going over to her grandmother's house, and like we would visit her grandmother's house. It was one of those soul food things. I mean, we go and I looked in one of the pots, and I was like, "Who is this supposed to feed?" I could have ate all the stuff that was in that pot.
And we had big kids.
It was like by the time we were all through eating, it was like the 5 little fish, 4 little fish and 5 loaves of bread.
Whatever.
bread. I was like amazed.
And we always took something home.
And there was leftovers.
Yeah.
Wow.
When they talk about that story, that's real. And
Yeah.
2 little fish and 5
yeah, I was like, man. So so when they would come over, like if we were there before everybody else got there, because I hated being late. If we said 2:00, then I want to get there early. But
late people are successful people. They did a study.
When they would all come over, I would see them kissing each other. And I'm like, what? That was strange to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we didn't say good night. We didn't say good morning. And in fact, my baby sister, she was just here last week. First time she visited out here to Arizona. So Sherry said, Nick, her name is Onitra, but we call her Nick. Sherry says, where's Nick? I said, she went to bed. She didn't even say good night. I said, and you're surprised by that?
Oh, yeah.
But we didn't say good night. It wasn't something that we did. It wasn't a habit that was formed. So a lot of this huggy, kissy stuff that I got from my wife was genuinely new to me.
Yeah, yeah. So are you used to it now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
After 30 years,
you better be.
In fact, my sister-in-law came over Sunday. We have a family meeting every 2 weeks, about financing and business endeavors and so on and so forth. And she came over and she was like, "Well, let me get my kiss," because we had saw her Friday night, and we didn't get a kiss and a hug. And she was like, "I didn't get my kiss last night, so let me get it now."
Oh, yeah.
That was on a Sunday. That was Friday night, the last time I saw her.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that's to be expected from.
Right.
And again, I think I could fall back into that old habit, but Sherry won't let me.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, it's funny.
Go ahead.
I was having a conversation with, which I am airing one of the episodes with my own pastor in my church. And we were talking about that, one of the benefits of having premarital counseling, and maybe you wouldn't have found out, if you had gone through it the way that he was talking about, is that, this is where you get to find out like how somebody was raised.
Right.
Because if you had not, met each other halfway, that probably would have been an issue between the two of you.
Yeah, definitely. Because I'm very affectionate.
Right. And I also come from a family where we do say goodnight, some kissing, but not probably as much as Sherry, what you guys do in your family. But if you were in our house and you went to bed and you didn't tell anyone, I would find out to be rude.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I thought. And that's why I said to him, that is rude.
Yeah.
You just left.
So it's interesting to, when you're starting to date, to maybe figure that out before, and you can, because kudos to you guys, like I said, for working it out. But I can imagine that might be an issue for some couples.
Well, and I don't know how they would find it out. A couple would. You don't really learn a person until you start living with them. You don't learn their habits. So I don't know. You could, I guess, questions would come up about how you were raised, but I don't know that something like that would come up,
Right. Probably not initially, yeah.
I think part of the problem is we have not really educated our children about what dating even looks like.
Mm-hmm. They just go out there and do it.
And I've been teaching Sunday school at church pretty much ever since I've been here, 33 years.
Mm-hmm.
I started teaching at Salt of the Earth when I was still going to school, and I'm still teaching. And one of the things that I've been sharing with my Sunday school class now is we talked about this in the Old Testament. You're familiar with a dowry, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what was Adam's dowry to Eve?
Gosh, I don't know.
His rib.
Oh, yes.
Okay, because we don't give anything of value. See, marriage is when you really think about it, it is a business proposition. Marriage is a business proposition. So when you think about what's happening in a business proposition, if you have a job what does the job expect you to give them if they're going to give you a check? Time.
Your time and your skill set and all that. Yep.
Okay, so if you give them your time and don't give them any production, guess what? They're going to have a problem with that.
Right.
So when you marry someone, the father, I think one of the things I believe, this is my personal view, is that when we tell our daughters that we're going to give them to a man, and a lot of times we don't tell them, they just said, this is what I'm marrying. What I believe we're doing them a disservice, because we're basically saying, I've raised you for whatever number of years, 18, 20, 25, 30, whatever it is. I've raised you, I've instilled a value in you, and now I don't get any return on my investment, no ROI. Now that may sound crude on the surface, but when you think about it, what are you saying to your daughter?
Right.
I'm not giving anything back.
What is your word?
Because you're not worth anything to me anymore. And the guy who's marrying your daughter is saying, okay, you put in all this work, I'm getting this beautiful queen, give you anything for it? And then if I decide I don't want it, guess what? I just throw it away and go get it.
Yeah. You know what's so funny? I come from a culture where men pay dowry.
Yes.
They call it lobola. So literally, the more educated the daughter is,
the more yep. And what you're saying is that's my price point. Yeah. You have to give something of value if you want to receive something of value. If you want that well-paying job, guess what? You got to bring some good credentials.
Right.
Okay. So what we do is we don't value our children because we're thinking, oh God, thank God they're gone. But I'm from a family of 10 children. I have one baby sister that passed away. That was 10 of us. And I have 4 sisters, and out of my 4 sisters, I have 17 nieces and nephews. And one of my sisters is married. So you think about just from a financial perspective, the struggle. And then now with my 14 nieces and nephews, there's even more children, and one of them are married. So I think until we start valuing our children as assets, what do you bring to the table? So with our son Christian, what I told Christian was, don't just look at the woman's physical assets.
Right. Well, yeah.
You can appreciate her physical assets, but what asset does she bring to the family overall? What happens if you guys decide, okay, we're going to go into this thing thinking we're going to get divorced? Because then how does that detract from the family?
Right.
What's the price the family pays?
Yeah.
So if you decide you want to choose someone, she needs to have valuable assets that she's going to contribute to this organization, because that's how I'm looking at it. It's an organization. That's why we're meeting as a family every 2 weeks. We're talking about real estate investments. We're talking about building businesses. And when I say businesses, it's plural.
Everybody got to have a side hustle.
So was she 15? She just turned 15. We're already encouraging her, and we have been. She wants to be a makeup artist. So we're saying to her, okay, yes, she's an attractive 15-year-old girl. She's taller than everybody in her family except her dad. But when you start looking for a mate, he needs to have more than just he's cute and broad shoulders. What asset is he bringing to the organization? Because business is business.
So we talked about your engagement and then you got married. So let's shift gears a little bit and talk about what are some of the things that you deal with, both of you, in your relationship. I like to call them annoyances, but maybe that's just too strong a word. Maybe quirks that you deal with.
Annoyances is fine. That's fine.
Or bones of contention.
There you go. So what are some of those that you deal with each other?
One of mine, and this has been going on, and I do it too, but he snores.
Okay.
And it's like, and early on, I still snore, but I don't think I do it as much as him. And I really think he has that sleep apnea thing.
Okay.
So we literally bought a bed, one of the Sleep Number beds that is supposed to help with snoring.
Oh, is that the one that tilts one side?
Yeah.
You can lift
And it
up?
doesn't. It doesn't. I love the bed, but it did not stop the snore. But I think that's probably the biggest one. And I'll say this to kind of counteract that, because I think, and I don't know for sure, but a lot of women go through this. Barry goes so far as to, after he uses the restroom, he puts the toilet seat down for me.
Oh, that's nice.
And I think that, yeah, because I don't think a lot of guys do that. Like I said, I don't know, but it's something that I notice. It's not an annoyance. I really appreciate it. And sometimes when he forgets, I'm like, no, he didn't. But then I go inside myself and go, well, you don't raise it up after you use it for him.
Oh,
But
well.
he thinks of me and lets it down. So, but the annoyance thing, I think that's about. He doesn't drink enough water. That annoys me.
Oh, okay.
That's about it.
You live in Arizona, Barry. You need to drink more water.
Right.
My water.
There you go. Cheers. I got mine.
Okay, your turn.
Well, after 30 years, I think the biggest thing, and I decided not to even fight this battle, is time is not very important to her. After 30 years, she's still late. When I teach on Sunday mornings, that's basically the only time that I ask for her to be on time.
Okay.
We have to be there at 9 o'clock. No, excuse me. Church, Sunday school starts at 9, right? I asked her for us to leave by 8:15 at the latest. This past Sunday, we left at 8:35.
Oh my goodness.
And now
I have a rebuttal.
And so we have to pick up. Well, we don't have to, but there's one of the brothers at church that doesn't drive, and we pick him up on the way. So, and so this has been going on, and the reason I don't make a big deal about it anymore, I read Colin Powell's autobiography. And over 300 pages. And I read this probably 17 years ago. And he said, out of the two things that I learned from over 300 pages was, he said, one of his hobbies is he likes rebuilding Volvo cars.
Okay.
And the other thing I learned, he said, learn how to pick your battles, because every battle is not worth waging.
Right. Yeah. I agree with that.
So I said, you know what? I don't like it, but it causes a problem. So I said, okay, it's not worth waging. So I just leave it alone.
Yeah, but you only asked for Sunday. That's it.
I tried so hard.
What will you be doing, Terry?
She's a master piddler. She's a master piddler.
Now, let me add an addendum to that. So on the Sundays that I believe I'm on time, ready to leave, he'll forget something and come back in the house, go out to the car.
Is that every
come
time?
Back in the, no, not every time. That's another one of my little annoyances. But then now I do it too. We call it the Upshaw syndrome. Because people who come and stay here, they end up adapting the same thing. Oh, did you forget something? Oh. But I think after 30 years, that's not too bad.
Yeah. I would say it's the hair, but we have the easiest hair because you and I have the same hair.
No, sometimes I might have a wardrobe issue. I'm like, oh, I'm not feeling that. But the other thing is, when I get up, I don't get up and begin to be productive. I piddle.
She's a piddler.
Oh, I can do that right quick. Oh, I can go. Let me change my purse really fast.
Okay.
But I did read recently that most successful people are not on time. It's not that we try to be late.
Well, you can find a study to justify everything under the sun. What was it?
That is true. That is true.
Oh, she read an article. I don't know where she read it from, but the study says that if your mate farts on you, you live a longer life.
It was on Facebook. It was on
and I
Facebook.
said, who spends the time on this stupid stuff?
This is a thing, like a real article?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That if your mate farts on you, it elongates your life.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
This was written by somebody who's probably has that problem trying to justify it.
Justify it.
That is hilarious.
But I told him, don't try it.
Yeah,
don't try
they have that. Whoever wrote that obviously has flatulence problems.
I think so. I'm in agreement with that.
So don't start quoting me stuff like that. People who are late actually are smarter.
I really think that's scientific.
Yeah, I'm sure. Just like the flatulence study is scientific.
That is too funny. So what about some, I guess, strengths or something that you love about each other?
I love, like Barry said earlier, the fact that we can talk about anything. I'm still very much in love with his broad shoulders and his physical strength. He lets me be me. And I think he loves the fact that I'm being me. If I try to be or act a different way, he's like, that is not you. Don't even, you know how sometimes over time people who aren't like you but want to be like you secretly, they kind of come off a little shady. And he says, you, and I used to try to do that. But then I would get, well, what's wrong with you? You're not laughing. Because I laugh pretty much all the time, unless I'm just really sick. And it's like, well, I do have my down times where I like to be quiet. I don't laugh 24 hours a day.
Right.
But sometimes I would try to change for that. And it's like, you don't need to do that. And then I convinced myself, I don't need to do that. I'm too old to do that, for one thing. I've lived a long time. So I'm being me.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. What about you, Barry? What are some qualities that you love about Sherry?
Well, I like that she's got a nice booty.
Well, you have to bleep that out.
No, that's a great thing. I think the world should know that you have a nice booty.
And I like that she is really conscious about her health.
Okay.
She's constantly on me about it. One of my biggest fears was getting a huge beer gut. Like,
and he doesn't drink beer.
You see men that's with these big stomachs, and that's always been, because I think oftentimes we have this double standard with men. Women should keep their nice shape, but it's okay for men not to. So when she encourages me to be healthy and not do this and not do that, I don't look at it as an annoyance. I look at it that there is a book that was written years ago called The 5 Love Languages.
Oh, I love that book.
That's one of her love languages. She loves me, and she shows that by encouraging me to eat, eat better than I do oftentimes. Because I was a big Coke-aholic.
Okay.
Particularly cherry Coke. And then I was demoted from cherry Coke to Diet Coke. And then she's like, that's actually worse than regular Coke. So I don't even drink the Diet Coke as much as I used to, even though I enjoyed it, because she said that's not good for you. So now I'm drinking more water. And so I look at all that not as saying, well, why are you trying to tell me what to do? But her saying, I love you and I want you to be around. Another thing I like about it is I like the way she dresses. And the years now that we've been married, she's very conscious on spending. She loves a bargain, because she used to go to, well, this was on sale and this was on sale. I said, and I saved this much money. I said, imagine how much you could have saved if you left it all in the store.
Well, that's no fun now, is it?
So now she shops very consciously when it comes to spending.
Yeah.
And I like that about her. And I also like that when it's time for us to eat, it doesn't matter. She always fixes my plate.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I don't have to ask her to. She asks me if I want her to. Oftentimes lately, she hasn't even asked me if I wanted to. She just brings it to me.
Oh.
So that I like. I really like her femininity.
Uh-huh.
And I, as a woman, because it's not so apparent oftentimes. At one point in time, she was trying to be like me. And I told her, I said, you know what? That's not you. That's not the person I married. So don't try to be me. If I wanted to marry somebody like me, then I would have sought after someone like that. But I
Right.
liked her characteristics. I liked her quality. I like that she takes care of me just like she takes care of her children. She loves hard, and that's what she said to me. I remember the first time she told me, before, this is before we got married, she said, and this is before I proposed to her, and this is actually what made me propose to her when she said this. She said, I am a good woman. And it wasn't braggadocious, it wasn't arrogance. And I'm a thinker. And I was like, wow. And over the years, she has proven those qualities of being a good woman. That being a good woman doesn't mean you're perfect. Doesn't
Right.
mean you don't have issues, but her heart, I think, is very pure. And so when I read Proverbs, the 31st proverb, a virtuous woman,
Mm-hmm.
I think she exemplifies that.
Oh,
He's trying to make me cry because I'm a crybaby too.
No, he's
oh, I love that.
I do too. I do too.
Oh, and I want to separate it, men and women. So Sherry, talk about women. Barry, talk about men. What would you say to single men out there or single women out there who are looking for love? So, like I mentioned, I am one of those who are looking for love, who's
Mhm.
looking for love. And so what would you say to, what advice would you have for us?
Well, coming from me talking to you, I know the advice because I used to look and talking to my pastor, different women at the church, different friends.
Mm-hmm.
Don't look for it because typically what we're looking for, it starts with the physical. It does. But I think a lot of times as women, we shortchange ourselves. And when we're looking, we go with, oh, I think he's cute. He's got a good job. We start this checklist. And
Right.
typically, his relationship with God is at the bottom. He could say, oh, yeah, I know God. I believe in God. But when you begin to talk and you don't hear Jesus and you don't hear a personal relationship, I just think we lose out if we don't let God choose. We kind of struggled in the beginning. Well, I'll say Barry struggled in the beginning because I was a divorcee. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
my first husband, he cheated on me. He left, and we weren't divorced. He moved to another state, and I ended up. I put my divorce on layaway, so to speak, because I couldn't afford. Went
Right.
down there and filled out the papers and stuff, and I just didn't think I wanted to be married. I knew I wanted to be married. I love being married. I believe I had a lot to offer to a husband,
Mm-hmm.
and I had children. I loved my children, loved having children, wanted more children, but the clock was ticking.
Right.
And so when Barry and I met, I'm like, okay, brother, I ain't got it. In fact, I told him one time, you need to either mess or get off the pot because if you want kids and you want me, we need to do this. So I think
Right.
as women, we kind of shortchange ourselves and not realize that we are the prize. We keep
Yeah.
because eventually we end up opening up that cookie jar, and you know what that leads to. It's like, well, I've had the cow and the milk. I don't need to make a commitment. So just I think we have to know our worth, even as Barry said earlier, is that we're worth waiting. And because love came again for me so late,
Mm-hmm.
there's always hope. And I have, like I said, 4 children. Barry's younger than me, a bit younger than me, because I didn't want no old man.
Yeah.
It just, but now I think it's almost like we're the same age or at the same level or whatever because we kind of grown together like that. I had to teach him a few things, but no, I'm kind of kidding, but not. But no, you have to keep hope alive and just don't sell yourself short, and it'll come. It'll
Yeah, that's beautiful to say. Thank you. Yeah.
come.
Well, that's kind of a loaded question for me.
What would you tell the guys?
First of all, I think when you say looking for love, because we have this westernized ideology regarding love, I think it's so misconstrued. Mm-hmm. Going back to that asset, you can love someone and they don't have any asset that they're bringing to the table. So right. My 28-year-old, 29.
He sure will.
I teach him.
No, he'll be 29.
Like I said earlier, love is something that we don't really discuss. Because when you look at other parts of the world, when they're talking about marriage, the prearranged marriage. I mean, Adam's relationship was prearranged.
Right.
Okay. So love really doesn't have a whole lot of room there. And I think we're doing ourselves a disservice by looking for love. It's like, I'm looking for an asset. How can you enhance me? And I think oftentimes we don't really think about that part of it. I mean, I look at three of our 5 children got married without consulting us. And all the marriages were bad. Okay. So I said to my wife, I said, do you realize that three of our children that got married didn't consult us before marrying? She's like, I hadn't thought about that. But guess what? We are feeling the impact of those relationships.
Right.
Because you didn't consult us. Now, I'm not saying that they had to. I'm saying I wish they would have. Because at least then we could have better prepared. So I think looking for love instead of looking for asset could be a big issue.
So just so I know that sorry, Sherry, just so I'm getting this right. You're saying, and I think, Sherry, you kind of touched on that you don't look for it. But what Barry's saying is you look for someone who will enhance you.
Yes.
Right. And our pastor, the one who married us, he told us, he said, you don't marry for love. He said, because after the honeymoon is over and you roll over towards him and he roll over towards you and you smell that stanky breath, you're like, oh, what did I get myself into?
Yeah.
We typically, like Barry said, the westernized, we look at the outward appearance. And even the Bible says, don't look at the outward appearance. He doesn't look at the out. He looks inside. So no, he's not a supermodel, whatever, but I loved the things about him that he brought to the table.
I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to chat.
And I'm glad we sat next to each other at Stronger Than Her.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to go to iTunes. You can subscribe, rate, and write a review. And also, you can always find more information about any of the episodes on my website, www.realloverealstories.com. And remember to follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and it's all under Real Love, Real Stories. Till next time.